Hi, I'm Evie. I'm not used to talking in my videos, and so this is new. Kind of nervous. Ignore any background noise. My cats are trying to be loud. Anyway, so I thought I'd make a video of just me speed painting and showing like my drawing process. I asked for drawing requests because I couldn't come up with my own ideas, and so it's just a video of me doing said requests. So first request I did was either Femme Dazai or Kyoka, and I decided to do both because I liked both ideas. And so I didn't include the comment with this, but the person who asked added another comment where they're like, specifically they wanted something to do with Kyoka's eyes, and so I made sure that her eye was like the centerpiece of the drawing. And then I started working on the Dazai drawing, and so I already had like a Femme Dazai design in mind because I had done a while back a Chuge version of this, but I wasn't asked, like it was a request. I didn't have a request to do Femme Dazai, but I had like come up with both designs at the same time. So it was nice being able to draw like what I had envisioned for Dazai. And so I have a hard time gender bending characters because in my mind it's like there isn't really a difference, like that they would behave or like style themselves. Like in my mind, the only thing Dazai would really do if gender bend was like have slightly longer hair. Other than that, I feel like Dazai would be the exact same no matter what. But I enjoyed changing up the hairstyle because I love giving characters longer hair, and I look for any excuse to give a character longer hair, so this worked out perfectly. And then I decided to just do a little extra doodle with Dazai in a long skirt because I feel like she would wear long skirts with like suit vests and her detective-y jacket that she wears. And so I just drew that to go along with the more so realistic rendered drawing I had also done. And then, so this request actually came from one of my mutuals, and I was asked to draw his Still Wakes the Deep OC, and I am a big fan of Still Wakes the Deep. I remember watching a playthrough, and it was for my lunch break between classes, and I was like, oh, I'll just watch it real quick and see what it's about. And I got so invested in the characters and the storyline, and it was just beautiful storytelling. Like honestly, one of like the best games I have ever seen. The voice acting is amazing, and the dynamics and the designs and the scenery, everything about it was just beautiful and amazing. I want to rewatch it again, and I just really loved it as a whole. And so with this request, I was asked to draw Pure Vanilla and Shadow Milk Cookie as a ship. I don't personally ship them. I have no problem with people who ship them. I know that's like a big discourse in like the fandom, I guess, is like personally, I have no strong opinions of them. I think aesthetically, they are a nice ship, because, like, when I first got into it, I didn't know anything about the characters. I just knew that Shadow Milk Cookie was, like, a clown, and Pure Vanilla, I had assumed he was, like, some kind of priest or something, because he looked like a priest. But upon finding out more about their lore, you know, I didn't really ship them much, and I still don't ship them. I feel like the only Cookie Run Kingdom ship I actually ship is Golden Lily. But I do like the designs for both of them together. I feel like they mix together very well, and admittedly I'm not very far into Cookie Run yet, so I haven't actually gotten to like their interactions, so I don't know much about how they interact with each other or anything. But I enjoy drawing this, and I try to give it more of like a religious look, like a religious painting like that, because like I said, I had originally thought Pure Vanilla was a priest, so that was definitely like the big inspiration, was to have him looking like holy. And for this request, I was asked to draw Dr. Iceberg and Dr. Gears interacting or working together, and so I did such. I, despite being in the SCP fandom for like almost 7 years now, don't know much about the doctors as, or like the staff of the SCP Foundation as characters, because I never was as interested in them as I was in like the actual anomalies, which I have been trying to read up on them and stuff like that. So doing this, I didn't actually know much about their dynamics, so I had to do like a whole bunch of researching of how they interact and how the fandom thinks they would interact and all that stuff to figure out how I would draw them. And I decided to just do very basic, them just kind of talking to each other to kind of play it safe of, I don't know what's actually like what they would talk about or anything, so I'm just gonna have them doing work basics of that. I really enjoy SCP despite my limited knowledge of it. It was something that actually was what first brought me into horror fandoms in general, because it was the first like horror fandom that I actually got really into for a while. Like I know I spent like 3 years just obsessing over it. And so it always holds a special part in my heart, you know, it's very dear to me. And I do hope to make more art for it in the future. And so this was requested by another one of my mutuals to draw my favorite characters from my fandoms interacting. And so I'm in way too many fandoms to draw all of my favorite characters interacting, so I just went with the 3 most recent. And I feel like they'd all get along really well, specifically because they all have like one character in their like world that they cannot stand, and they have like a somewhat common goal. I feel like SCP-049 actually, his goal would match up a little bit more with Fyodor's, goal. Not for the same reasons, but just like on a basic level, they kind of have similar goals. But I do feel like Michael Afton and Sigma would get along super well because they both are tired of being used and manipulated by people and they just want to be free from all that. And I think they could all bond over a game of like poker or some card game. I don't know any card games. I do think they could bond over that, definitely. And that they all kind of have traumas that are very similar to each other, like with 049 kind of just having one sole purpose and that being his whole life's goal and meaning, matching up with like how Sigma only cares, like his life meaning is for the casino. That's what she cares about, that's what she has built her whole life around. When she loses it, she's devastated. And then with Michael Afton, he has one goal in mind of, you know, undoing the wrongs of his father, which is something I feel like all of them having like very important goals that they work for and they never seem to accomplish. Every time they get close to accomplishing their goals, something happens. So that, and they could all rant about how much they hate like SCP-035 or William or Fyodor and Nikolai, you know, bonding over their shared experience with very annoying psychopaths.